Welcome to Honcho on the Air, a podcast that brings you the latest talks and the latest trends in business, technology, innovation, and the candid side of C-level executives. Each week on this season, we explore topics and issues on human resources, management, leadership, HR technology, recruiting, talent management, organizational culture, and strategic HR.
Honcho on the Air is sponsored by Aces Business. Trust the expert. Now back to the show.
Our guest today is Amielle Receno. She is the People Operations Manager of Lalamove Philippines. She is a Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt and an HR Agile Certified. She will talk to us today about employee wellness programs in the new normal. Hi, Amielle, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Claire. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you. New normal. Okay, setups have changed, protocols have changed. Many had to adjust and adapt. In your opinion, how can organizations support their employees to balance work and responsibilities effectively?
All right. It's a huge topic when you say work-life balance. Huge topic. So let's try to focus on three things, though. So the first thing is, what is the catalyst for making this actually a concern? We first need to acknowledge that an event or a situation may affect us as employees, as individuals, and as family members. Currently, I think work-life balance is an issue because of the COVID-19 breakout, which has the whole world in an unprecedented quarantine situation. So here in our country, we've been on some sort of quarantine it's been 11 months.
Mm-hmm.
For the last
one of the longest in the world, if not the longest.
Yeah. When the lockdown happened last March, overnight, we all had to be remote workers. And it wasn't even a choice. We all had to shift fast and hard to be digitized workers. So that's the first thing. The second is, how can the company now support this sudden change? So the fast answer, of course, is the provision of the right digital tools. The company provides the employees with the tools that they need to do their jobs efficiently. Basically, these are your laptops, your mobile phones, apps or internal systems, software, collaboration tools, what have you. And of course, most importantly, connectivity. Third, and not in the least important, is the company's intention of keeping meaningful employee experience. So the spark that keeps employees motivated, wanting to work and wanting to continue to contribute to our business goals. So I think that's the three main things, how organizations can support their employees to maintain a certain work-life balance.
Okay. Now, how can organizations promote physical and mental wellness besides doing seminars and talks? How else can you help your employees when it comes to these?
I think the first thing is to make it accessible, provide the resources, and drive the information campaign. At the start of the quarantine, we thought it was going to be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Then 6 weeks went by, 3 months went by. Christmas, we were still in quarantine. And now we're celebrating the anniversary in a couple of weeks. So can you just imagine how many people were pregnant, were nursing an illness, necessitating regular checkups, and suddenly they did not have access to their physicians, to clinics, to hospitals, of course. So again, we needed to identify quickly what our intention should be. We definitely need to take care of our people. We need to support them in keeping themselves healthy, or else we'll have no one to run the business with us. So I think one of the great things that we learned during this pandemic is that we have to make things work. And basic things such as access to healthcare is a top priority. Thus, teleconsultations became like the new norm for checkups, right? It's not a new idea, I understand. It's not a new practice. But then again, we were really pushed to figure this out because it's what is there. It's what we need to work with. For mental health, admittedly, we are breaking new grounds here. Culturally, Filipinos, we have a, what do you call this? Sorry, a deep need for belonging, for inclusion, for friends. And this is pretty much what keeps most of us mentally and emotionally healthy. The quarantine, it took that all away. Gone are the days that we have the impromptu counseling session in the hallway where, diba, or giving a gentle tap on the back or the shoulder and saying, "Kamusta? How are you doing? Are you having trouble?" And we now have employees who are living in boarding houses or apartments on their own, got stuck there without their families. And I don't know if this would surprise anyone. It doesn't surprise me. But even though we are also deeply very involved with our own families, we have extended families, being with them 24/7 can become very overwhelming. The pandemic dragged on. We also had to deal with the anxiety of us or family members contracting the illness, friends and family losing jobs, some employees becoming sole breadwinners, our kids becoming home-based and dealing with online school adjustments and having their own anxieties because they also don't get to go out and see their friends. I have two kids. One is in high school, one is a toddler. No, not a toddler, sorry, she's 5. But there's so much different dynamics when you have everybody at home. So you're dealing with work, and then you're dealing with your mom or your dad who are also bored, and you've got older parents and grandparents to look out for as well. So this push the need for partnering with mental awareness or mental wellness professionals.
Okay.
Of course, you can say that isn't that what HR should be doing? No, but in a million years, I would never recommend for HR to take this on their own. For one, I think for mental wellness, we need there's so many programs that sprung up also for this. No?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that because you did mention all the situations and things that most people are going through these days, especially like you said, with a very long lockdown. And I know that you also mentioned that you've given some support with health or physical health checkups through teleconsult. But what about to address mental wellness? What are those things that you've done so far?
Yeah, things that I would recommend as well is, of course, number one is to actually tap your HMO provider, because most of them already offer some sort of mental wellness rider, and it's not that costly. You can give your people funds for as a part of a package, and then it goes from there. So you can provide that. Also, there are mental wellness partners that you can tap as well. A dedicated mental health and wellness partner. So they offer a certain number of talk sessions for the employees. And what's good about this is that the HR also gets reports or pulse surveys, which helps us in determining the mental wellness programs or webinars or talks that would really be beneficial to our situation. Kasi syempre, every company has different needs and every individual has different needs as well. So it's good to have that actual professional to tell you, oh, this is what you need. This is what's going to be most beneficial and advantageous to your situation right now.
So, do you think that there was a rise in mental health? I would say, how would you put it?
Issues
within the company as the pandemic kept dragging and the lockdown kept dragging? And how were you able to keep up with it?
Definitely, there was a rise in the concerns, no, because you'll see it in the productivity of the people as well. And depending on the culture of the company, I'm very fortunate that the company I work for has a very collaborative, very supportive culture that we really try to keep. Keep, no, even virtually. Most of the all the leaders that we have are able to communicate very well to their team members. So we've made it a normal thing to have weekly checkups with the teams and make sure that HR is also in constant communications with the managers on specific issues that are brought to our attention by our mental wellness partners.
Honcho on the Air is sponsored by Globe Labs. Redefine possibilities. Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the follow button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
Now that we've established that, and also being able to spot those occurrences within the organization by, like you said, when you see someone who is less productive than usual, then that would probably be one of the red flags. So let's say these things are brought about and discovered and discussed, and it's been brought upon you, so you were informed by it within the organization, or at least between you and your team members. How do we deal with how to destigmatize mental health? Do we still have that? Do people still have that stigma?
Um, Culturally, we take it differently, but it's another broad and complicated topic. But what I can definitely say is that we're fortunate enough to be at a time that mental health is already recognized and finally talked about in the open. It's good because even the government has programs for mental wellness. At the start of the pandemic, they gave numbers for you to call, hotlines for you to call if you're experiencing anxiety or stress because of the COVID situation. This is something that we followed as well because it's a good practice. And with the pandemic, really, people are so much more openly talking about stress, anxiety, worries, and exhaustion. The pandemic may actually be helping to destigmatize the way mental health issues are viewed by making mental health care accessible. I think we are definitely on the right track to finally destigmatizing this.
Okay. And how do you handle anxiety of employees who will return or who are currently working on site or who are working? Let's first talk about those who are working in the office. I understand there's some anxiety coming from people who have to travel back and forth to work, taking public transportation, or even being at the actual office itself, they feel, if they feel safe or not or whatnot. How do you handle these issues?
For this, there are two conversations that come out. The first one is to deal with the administrative part, ensuring the health and safety of employees that would have to work on site, of course. This involves strictly following protocols that the government mandates, like the face mask, face shields, physical distancing, rapid tests, or even swab tests, and then taking it up a notch. I would recommend to always take it up a notch because this is safety and health that we're talking about. So you make your own, how do you say it, OA protocols. So you you overcompensate, right? Because you don't want to, you'd rather be over than under protected, right?
Correct.
So you have rules, you create alternating schedules, so you don't have to have all your people in the office all at once. And of course, it's pursuant, it's compliant to the physical distancing thing, because most offices would have rooms, not really an open layout. So you really have to make sure that physical distancing is possible. We put up acrylic barriers, even if there is already physical distancing. You tell them, or you make rules. Like, for example, you make rules like you bring your own bowl, you bring your own food, you bring your own water so that you don't have to go outside. Strict no sharing of stuff, information and directional signs so that people don't just pass each other in the hallway. And of course, disinfection schedules. This is very important because if your employees see that the company is serious in making sure that first and foremost health and safety is protected, they'll be okay with it. The other
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
is you have to show them that you're serious about health and safety. Otherwise, once they're over that initial hesitancy to come in,
They'll get
used to it, and they'll be more a little bit careless, I would say. So it's really up to the employer, up to the management to make sure, that we stay compliant. The other conversation, of course, is the tougher one. But if you have leaders who have developed strong relationships or have forged strong relationships with their teams, this should be a doable thing. Leaders should know their teams well enough to tackle the hesitations and get them to buy in, as we all try to work toward the business goals, which is to survive and even to thrive in this situation. Straightforward conversations about infections, making sure that your team members are actually well informed, transport, business continuity plans, operational needs. When you're transparent, it will definitely bring your team members to shift from finding the problems to finding the solutions with you.
Okay, said. Yeah. Now, do you offer wellness trainings aside from, let's say, what they can get from their health insurance, where they can seek medical help when it comes to their mental well-being? Aside from that, are there other programs that you offer for your employees?
Yeah, right now we do have a dedicated mental wellness provider aside from our HM. So what happens is there's a certain number of sessions that you can schedule yourself in if you need anything. So what we do is we make sure that the information is always updated on teleconsultation schedules, that this is still ongoing. And what happens is, like I mentioned earlier, there are surveys that are reported to us. So the conversations are reported to us, of course, in anonymity. But because of these pulse surveys, we are able to determine what we need to do moving forward. So for example, if we see that anxiety on workload, for instance, is getting to be the higher concern, then that's what we tackle for the next series of webinars. Because we are all virtual, it's really something that we need to adjust to. Because we are a bigger organization now, you have to make sure that there is only a certain number of people per session, because virtual talks, just like trainings, it has a sweet spot so that you're able to address each and every issue, and the people will also be more comfortable in attending and sharing their insights.
That's important. So how do you know these webinars and trainings are effective?
Let's stop. No,
I love that you chuckled there first.
It's tough because having healthy, results producing, collaborative, and supportive people whose sentiments still show that they trust their company, their leaders, and their peers would be a big win. So you roll out a sentiment survey. We do this every month. I think the people don't notice it even because it's very short. They just want to know the feel or the weather. Physical and mental wellness really aren't areas that we can quiz and grade our people on. And at the end of the day, we are all still in charge of our own bodies and our own minds. So as employers and leaders, the best we can do is to be efficient communicators. And for HR, subtle yet determined advocates of physical and mental well-being. So this is where medyo shouldn't look very naggy, but you really have to make sure that you communicate what is available and how to access both mental and physical programs that we have. I think one of the more important things is not to miss out on queries about when the next teleconsultation schedule is of the doctor or where the best accredited clinics are. Every chance we get, we have to make our intentions clear. Our why is to make sure always that our people are healthy, able, and of course willing to keep on supporting the communities we serve or the business goals that we have.
Thank you so much for your time and for speaking with us today. Very insightful conversation. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you. It's good to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this week on Honcho on the Air. Make sure to visit our website at cnhr.org, where you can subscribe to us on Spotify so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, make sure to like and subscribe to our social media pages to get the latest news and updates. Thank you, and till the next episode.